Welcome to Guthrie Sports Page Television. Chris Evans with the ball coach, Rafe Watkins. Coach, first off, congratulations on win number 70. I know you didn't know it was win number 70, but congratulations anyway.
Okay.
got the big victory over Durant, 41-15, and perhaps the best game so far through 4 weeks.
Without a doubt, it was our best game of the year. You know, I was really worried about it, not just because of homecoming, because they were a very good team. They had been a number as high as number 9 before they'd gotten beat by Ada. And as you could see, and everybody that was at the ball game, giant, just big linemen, big physical kids, and had an outstanding athlete in the backfield. Like I say, probably the third or fourth best kids we'll see all year long. Very agile and threw a good ball, but we fortunately wore them down there. Our speed took over, and we made fewer mistakes than they did to win the ball game.
Looked like Durant was trying to give trying to stop the run, and JP still got 95 yards, but the passing game was there early and often.
Our passing game was very good the other night. Good pass protection. I thought Keaton threw the ball well, made some time whenever he had to. Had receivers, you know, Kentrell and Dante and LaRon all had big games. Just couldn't say enough good about them. Probably the only downfall of the other night was just some of our mental lapses in our special teams, and that has not happened. I mean, it just never happens. You know, if we're sitting here talking about our defense didn't do something good or our offense, so one thing that's always stayed constant was our special teams, and we had some mental flaws the other night. It's nothing that can't be corrected. It's just again some things that normally not happen.
Is that something you don't hardly see in the game either, though?
No, and that's the thing. You know, you never see your front line. It's not that we don't talk about it, because right before we come out of halftime, we just told the guys you can fair catch a pop up. We didn't do that, but yet again, you don't think about your front line getting it. Then there's a 2-yard onside, and with the excitement that was off the other play, I think Manny just he didn't even think about it. He just ran and got on the ball, and again, it went 2 yards. He didn't have to get on the ball. The tee went farther than the ball. And then LaRon just couldn't help but try to pick up that punt. So you take away those three things. The play they made where they blocked the extra point, that was just great individual effort. He come all the way from the outside. It wasn't blocking. It wasn't a bad snap. It wasn't a bad hold. It wasn't anybody being slow. The kid just made a really good play.
Definitely a learning experience.
Sure. And one that didn't cost us, fortunately.
And now the offensive line through 4 weeks had 4 different fronts, but this one had a great game.
They did. You know, we're going to stick with it again this week. We feel like that helped us out. It certainly helped us out by putting Jacob Woods at tight end, and Skyler still got in some. He's such a good decoy because they know how he can run, that it was able to keep that free safety whenever we hit Kentrell on that 4th down play there in the first quarter. Whenever we went all seams, you see the free safety cheat over, which is Max White, and then he sees Skyler coming. He stays in the middle of the field, and then there's nobody there for Kentrell.
Right.
And so it worked out good there. But Jacob gave us such great, valuable minutes. He really did a good job of blocking on our stretch play, and it allowed Skyler to stay fresh for defense.
Coach, let's fast forward to Friday night with the Ardmore Tigers. Ardmore Tigers 4-0, and every game they've been in has been very competitive. Their biggest win so far is 8 points, which means if it comes down to the fourth quarter, they're a team that's been there before.
Oh, they have, and that just goes back to discipline and being very well coached. You know, Coach McBroom's down there in Oklahoma, legend. He's got over 200 victories, outstanding coach. They are. I mean, and this don't mean to sound disrespectful to them, but this, and it also tells about how many athletic teams they had down there. But of all the teams that we've played from Ardmore down there, and since I've been acquainted knowing Ardmore, this is probably the least athletic, but by far the most disciplined. And that's just a tribute to their kids and their coaching staff, that how they're on there. They just don't make mistakes. You know, we've got the 2 games on them, and I think they have 1 turnover in that game. Their kicking game is just very average. They need an extra point kicker and kickoff guy, but their punting's very solid. They got dangerous return guys like they always do. You know, they've got 2 very good wide receivers. Their quarterback's back from last year, who has playoff experience down here, and they got a massive offensive and defensive line. You know, it seems like we're repeating ourselves on that every week. I've never seen so many big people. And I was talking to McAllister, because they've played both Durant and Ardmore, and even though Durant beat them worse, he still felt like Ardmore was probably the better team because of their size up front. He said they felt like they played a lot better against Ardmore, and they got beat 18-10. So, you know, Coach Pratt, I've known a long time. He's a good guy. He knows his football, and so when he tells me that, I believe him that Ardmore is better than Durant.
You look at the Ardmore offense; they have a great left tackle, and they got a couple sophomores up the middle, and they got a quarterback that threw over 1,250 yards, 15 touchdowns, and they give you a couple different looks as far as what they can do. They got, they'll have like the wild, I don't know if they call it the wild tiger, but but then they got 2 great tight ends as well.
They do. The sophomore tight end, he's 6'5", 225, and is just a load and a big target for him to hit at. And again, I'm always worried about a good tight end. They've got the good speedy wideouts, number 10. I can't think of his name right now, but he can fly. He'll be ISO'd a lot. We're going to have DJ trying to find and track him. Most of the time they love to run just a deep ball with him. They'll just line up and throw it probably 6 or 7 times a game just to him on that skinny post like what we like to run. They're very disciplined. Defensively, they've been really very, very sound. That's what's been keeping them in the games. They've been creating turnovers, stopping people on inside the red zone and holding them to field goals or missed fourth downs. And so their defense is what's carrying them. And it goes to show in the close games. They beat Ada 14-7 game 1. They beat Duncan in overtime 20-17 at Duncan, which I still think is probably their most impressive victory. That's tough to go to Duncan and win. Third game they beat McAllister 18-10, and then this last week they went to Noble and won 27-21. Again, that to me is a mark of a good team winning close games.
And you look at the Blue Jay offense, got everything going pretty good last week against Durant. What possibly we can see here this week for the Jays?
Well, hopefully the same type of thing. We want to keep concentrating on our run game. It's getting better. I thought, again, like you said, JP ended up with 95. If he hadn't had that one loss, we ran a little play to set up the reverse that we knew was going to lose us some yardage. We didn't expect it to lose us 18 yards, but it did. And so he would have been over 100 yards for the night. But it was solid enough that it keeps people honest, that they know that we can run the ball and they know that we love to run the ball, but yet our passing game right now, I think we're averaging 171 rushing and 185 passing. That's about as balanced as you can get with that type of yardage, so it's going to make it tough on folks.
2-hour bus trip to Ardmore. Been there, done that before, but it's still a long trip.
It is. The good thing is it's not going to be brutally hot. We're going to take the old yellow dogs and head out a little early. We're going to leave about 2:50 and go down, and that way if we hit traffic, we'll still be okay by the time we get there, and just take it as easy as we possibly can and get down there and hopefully play very well. If we play like we did last week, I think that we win the ball game.
I guess it's my job to say you've won 13 district games in a row, 18 in a row, but it doesn't. And your job is to say it's no big deal. We got Ardmore Friday.
That's right. We have to worry about Ardmore because we want to have 19.
I thought so. Coach Watkins, appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
For Rafe Watkins, I'm Chris Evans. Thank you for watching Guthrie Sports Page Television.